Today I'd like to talk about readjusting poor technique on your instrument. I'm going to talk about classical guitar today because that's my issue. A few years ago I took a formal guitar lesson from a friend of mine, and he's a fantastic guitar player, and he's also a classical guitar player, and he was coming up near me, so I asked him if he could drop in and give me a lesson. So we talked about a lot of good things. He looked at my technique, and there were some things that he wanted me to adjust. One of the things was my left hand thumb. When I was first learning guitar, I learned standard guitar, so there wasn't a lot of attention to my left hand. And then when I started learning classical guitar, those old habits continued. So he told me back then that my thumb and middle finger should be like this on the fretboard. I should be able to pick up a pencil, and that gives you a good idea of where your thumb should be behind your hand. So I made that adjustment, and I've been working on it for the last couple of years. So last week I was giving a guitar lesson to a student, and I always pass on this information to my students, even if I don't have the technique myself. So I told him to keep the thumb behind the middle finger. And then later on in the lesson, I was demonstrating something, and he busted me because my thumb, he said, "Your thumb is way up." And I looked and I was like, "Ugh." So bad example from the teacher, but the fact of the matter is that these readjustments do take a long time, and you do have to think about it. Last week was a very frustrating week for me when I was practicing, because I had to slow everything down because I was focusing on that thumb being behind the middle finger. And the worst thing was when I slid up the fret, the thumb would slide back here instead of staying with the middle finger. So I've been working on those things. Now, you may be going through a process of changing something with your playing, and it does take a long time to readjust your technique. So be patient, keep working at it, but be very vigilant with it during the short term, so you can get that out of the way, and then you can get on with other things. It's not a good idea to readjust technique if you have a big performance coming up. Do it after the big performance so that you're not stressed. You don't want to change things before a big performance or a recital or something like that. Okay? But it is something that you have to continually watch yourself if you're not at that stage where you have everything internalized. Okay? Well, thanks for watching, and that's my little video blog for this week.